Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now. Hold on, because what I'm about to tell you could be a game changer not just for the Chiefs, but for the entire AFC North. And believe me, for the Steelers' playoff hopes as well. Rumors are swirling around a potential trade that could send Travis Kelce from Kansas City to Pittsburgh. That's right, Kelce, the legendary tight end who's been a cornerstone of the Chiefs' offense for over a decade, might be heading to the Steel City. And honestly, if this deal goes through, it could turn the tide for Pittsburgh in ways we haven't seen in years. Let's dig into the details because this isn't just some rumor. According to sources close to The Athletic, there's talk that the Chiefs, currently sitting at 9-4, might be willing to part ways with Kelce. Why? Well, age is catching up with him. He's 36 now, and the Chiefs are increasingly shifting towards faster, more explosive tight ends like Wiley, who had over 600 yards in 2025. Plus, Kansas City is eyeing future cap flexibility, especially with a projected over $20 million in cap space for 2026. Trading Kelce could free up around $17 million in cap space, which they could use to bolster other areas, particularly their wide receiver core after the injury to Rice, who's out for the season. Now, whether you're a Steelers fan or not, you have to admit Kelce is still a beast. His 2025 season was impressive: 72 receptions, 850 yards, and 7 touchdowns. PFF graded him at an elite 88.9, putting him squarely among the top tight ends in the league. Even with some decline in yards after catch, YAC 4.2 in 2025, he remains a matchup nightmare, especially in the red zone, where he's amassed 14 playoff touchdowns over his career. His route running, YAC, and EPA per target all speak to his continued dominance. Sure, he missed 2 games in 2025 due to back issues, but he still graded out well, 75. 2 blocking grade and 5.1 YAC, which is comparable to some of the twilight years of Rob Gronkowski. From the Chiefs' perspective, this move makes sense. Their cap situation is tight, with over $20 million in cap space committed for 2026, and they're looking to shift their offensive focus to speedier tight ends like Wiley, who can stretch the field more effectively. Also, the Chiefs might be a bit skeptical about chasing a three-peat, especially with their defense allowing an average of 22 points per game. Without Kelce, their offensive efficiency drops roughly 10%, and that's a risk they might be willing to take if it means building more cap flexibility and speed on offense. But what does this mean for the Steelers? Well, it could be monumental. Kelce's arrival would instantly elevate the tight end group in Pittsburgh. Pat Freiermuth, who's already shown flashes with around 500 yards and a solid 82. 4 PFF grade, would benefit hugely from having a Hall of Fame caliber tight end like Kelce next to him. Kelce's presence would add a red zone threat that Pittsburgh has lacked since losing Eric Ebron, and it could transform the entire offense. Imagine a duo of Kelce and Freiermuth, creating mismatches all over the field, forcing defenses to pick their poison. The Steelers' passing game, which has been averaging around 245 yards per game, could see a projected boost to around 280 yards, a massive increase, and their EPA per pass would jump, making them more explosive and more difficult to defend. This addition could also be a game-changer in the playoffs. Kelce's playoff experience is unmatched, over 1-0 career yards, and his clutch performances have turned the tide in many crucial moments. If he were in a Steelers uniform, he'd be a major X-factor, especially against divisional rivals like the Bengals. His ability to dominate mismatches, especially against slower linebackers, would give Pittsburgh a significant edge. And with Watt out for a part of the season, this upgrade at tight end could help keep the offense sustained, controlling the clock and keeping defenses honest. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. If Pittsburgh manages to pull off this deal, the impact on Super Bowl odds could be substantial. Currently, Caesars has the Steelers at +1,200 for the 2025 season, but that could skyrocket to +550 if Kelce joins the roster. That's a huge boost in the betting world, and it puts Pittsburgh right in the conversation as a true contender. The playoff simulations show that with Kelce, the Steelers, chances of winning against top-tier teams like the Bengals increase from around 52% to 70%. That's not just a small bump, that's a seismic shift in confidence and potential. Kelce's ability to dominate mismatches against linebackers and safeties, especially in critical third-down situations, would make him an invaluable asset in clutch moments. His route running, combined with his experience and football IQ, would open up the entire offense, giving Kenny Pickett a reliable, dynamic target who can make plays in tight windows. And in the current NFL landscape, where the league is increasingly emphasizing explosive plays and red zone efficiency, Kelce's presence could be the difference between a deep playoff run and an early exit. Of course, this all hinges on whether the Chiefs are willing to part with Kelce, which is still speculative. But if they do, the Steelers would have to act quickly. The trade package might be a third-round pick in 2026 plus a conditional second-rounder, which is a relatively small price for a player of Kelce's caliber. Pittsburgh's cap situation, with around $2.88 million available, could be adjusted to accommodate Kelce's salary and bring him into the fold. The Steelers have been building a competitive roster, and adding Kelce would be the icing on the cake, an infusion of elite talent that could accelerate their championship window. And let's not forget the historical context. The Steelers have always thrived when they've had a reliable, game-changing tight end. Think about Heath Miller or even the impact of Gronkowski during his prime. Having a player like Kelce would be a similar boost. It would energize the offense, lift the morale of the entire team, and send a clear message that Pittsburgh is serious about contending again. With the quarterback upgrade that Kenny Pickett is developing, and now the potential addition of a player like Kelce, the Steelers could be on the brink of something special. Looking ahead, if this deal materializes, the Steelers could see a surge in offensive productivity, especially in high-pressure situations. The combination of Kelce's playoff experience and Freiermuth's emerging talent could form one of the most dangerous tight end duos in the NFL. That, combined with the already solid core of receivers and a revamped offensive line, would make Pittsburgh a nightmare for defenses. This move could also serve as a catalyst for the entire team's confidence, shifting expectations, and setting the stage for a deep postseason run. In terms of the AFC North, it would send ripples through the division. The Bengals and Ravens are already formidable, but adding Kelce to Pittsburgh's arsenal could be the missing piece that tips the balance of power. The division would become even more competitive, but for Steelers fans, this potential upgrade sparks hope that their team can finally reclaim the top spot and challenge for the Super Bowl once again. The Steelers have always been about resilience, grit, and strategic moves, and if this trade becomes reality, it would exemplify that philosophy, taking a calculated risk to maximize their championship chances. So fans, I know this is a lot to process, but the possibility of Kelce in Pittsburgh is genuinely exciting. It's a move that could redefine the franchise's trajectory, energize the fan base, and put the Steelers back on the path to glory. The NFL is a league of big moves, and if Pittsburgh can pull this one off, it might just be the start of another historic chapter in the Steelers' legendary story. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. Do you think Kelce could really make that big of a difference? Would you like to see him in the black and gold? This is the kind of move that could energize the entire fan base and make us believe again in a Super Bowl run. I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. Remember, we're all in this together. Steel City strong.